Next question from Zone. Thurman displayed great ring intelligence, resolve, foot speed, a great check hook, knockdown, and the ability to go the distance. The same qualities that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has shown, quote unquote, the sweet science. And people are still not satisfied. Why is that? Remember when Keith Thurman KO'd his previous opponents? Naysayers called him limited. Which one is it? As far as this question, I don't fall into that category, so I'm going to attempt to answer it from the perspective of people that I've talked to and things like that. I had no problems with Keith Thurman. I thought the fight was pretty boring, but it was more or less boring because Leonard Bundu wasn't really engaging. He didn't really throw any punches to make it competitive. I've seen Bundu in the past. He had ripped to the body. He, you know what I mean, made fights like a dog fight. He didn't do none of that. So to me, the fight was kind of boring. But I don't knock Keith Thurman because he did what he needed to do. He was in against a in shape veteran who's herky jerky, kept switch hitting constantly. You know what I mean? People, if you know boxing, you have to pick up on little stuff. Like he's doing all these fucking feints and head movements and then switching to southpaw and then going back to orthodox. That's hard. You have to get a read on what the fuck the person is doing. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you're not trying to get caught. There's an old saying from Bill Cosby, and I know he's probably not the best example because he had the rape case, but he says, I don't know all the keys to success, but I know the key to failure, and that's trying to please everybody. So at the end of the day, I think that's what it is. Fickle boxing fans, you can't please everybody. For Keith Thurman's sake, I would rather outbox the shit out of somebody and dominate and have a knockdown and give them a boxing lesson and win and still be undefeated than the adverse fight stupid and try to force a knockout and get knocked out or knocked down even. And then people clown you and make memes and say, oh, you were calling out Pacquiao, you calling out Mayweather and Khan and saying Guerrero and Maidana are ducking you, but all of a sudden you get knocked down by a bum. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people are waiting to jump on you. You know what I mean? They're waiting for you to fuck up. So Keith Thurman played it smart. He went in against an Olympian, a former Olympian, a veteran, a 40-year-old who was coming to you know what I mean, survive really. So had he fought a different fight or pushed the issue and got knocked down or caught off balance or made to look dumb, then people would have gave Keith Thurman even more shit. They'd be like, oh, Amir Khan will kill you. Robert Guerrero, Maidana, you said they ducked, but they'll beat you. So Keith Thurman did what he needed to do against a very awkward dude. You know what I'm saying? It's not a person you had much information on, and he doesn't have an orthodox style. And I said this earlier. Certain guys you don't look good against. Miguel Vasquez, Mauricio Herrera, what's his name? Carlos Molina at 154. Those guys are just really, really awkward. Carlos Quintana, back in the day, he was hard to look great against unless you were Cotto or something. These people, it's their style. You know what I mean? Richard Abril, they have a weird ass style that a lot of people don't look sensational going up against them. And I think that Leonard Bundu falls in that category. Look at the fight with Nonito Donaire and Omar Narvaez. Donaire didn't look like this powerhouse, this immaculate left punch, left hooker, you know what I'm saying? Because Narvaez was doing just enough to try to make it look like he was willing to engage and fight, but he was also doing enough to not get knocked out and do anything foolish. So he wasn't really going for the gusto. He wasn't taking a risk. Had Leonard Bundu taken more risk, you probably would have seen him get hurt or seen a knockout or another knockdown. But he was content just doing this herky-jerky and fainting all night. So I don't know. I can't really speak on it. I think people are just willing to hate. And Keith Thurman not getting a knockout, this is their opportunity. And then the last thing with Keith Thurman, I would say, is because Keith Thurman has coined himself as a KO artist and knockouts for life. So when the public sees you fight a guy that we don't even know, the public doesn't, by and large, know a Leonard Bundu, and they're like, oh, you couldn't do away with the bum, they automatically throw everything out the window. They don't, oh, fuck the fact that he's 40-year-old and he's in shape, and fuck the fact that he's a former Olympian. I don't know him, so I don't care, and he's a bum to me. That's pretty much how a lot of boxing fans act now. They don't do their homework. They just say he's a bum. I've never heard of him. He's never been on HBO. He's a bum. You know what I'm saying? But had Keith Thurman fought the same fight against Brandon Rios, maybe they'll give him credit just because they've heard of Rios. Who knows? It's just how the game goes, I guess you can say. Next question, Sandro, and it says Mayweather, Pacquiao, and Cotto are almost done. With these legends headlining on their way out, who do you see becoming pay-per-view attractions for the sport? I want to hear Ego's thoughts. A couple guys, I would say Triple G could. His fan base is, I've seen an incline in that. Like, a lot of Mexican fans are getting behind him. He's saying the Mexican style and stuff, fan-friendly style. He has skills. Felix Verdejo is another person. Puerto Rico, I think, will co-sign him. He's bilingual. Oh, he's not bilingual. He speaks Spanish. He's, a Puerto Rican native, and he has skills, and he has experience in the amateurs. And, he's a clean-cut dude, young, and he has tons of room to grow. I think there's a couple good fights. I think Earl Spence, not anytime soon, but if he keeps winning and keeps building, I think he's a highly skilled person. So if he gets behind the right vehicle and they start pushing him like they push Broner and shit like that, I think he could, because he has the ability to have longevity in the sport. Leo Santa Cruz, if he has, he just has to have those wins that catapult him. Canelo, of course. There's a couple of guys. Canelo's definitely one, especially if he beats Cotto. You know what I'm saying? He is a pay-per-view star. He's already been on pay-per-view and headline with Mayweather, then Angulo, the Laura fight. So obviously the Cotto Canelo would be one. So if he beats Cotto, he is probably the biggest star not named Pacquiao or Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? If he could beat Cotto. So I would say those are guys that I'm kind of keeping out for, and I think they could pass the torch. Last question. Do you think Marquez can knock out Amir Khan? Simple answer, yes. It's a good fight. Marquez struggles with speed. Pacquiao showed you that. It'll be a good fight. Marquez is very short compared to Amir Khan, but he's also clinical, and he's technical, and he's a counterpuncher. So if he knocked Pacquiao out, I have no doubt in my mind he can knock out Amir Khan, but he has to catch him first. You know what I mean? Bradley's speed seemed to bother Marquez. And I would say Khan's faster than Bradley. So it's a good fight. It's just Marquez is going to have to taste some leather in order to land something of significance. Plus, Marquez is not a huge welterweight, in my opinion. And Amir Khan came in at 160 versus Devin Alexander, which is pretty big. So it'd be a good fight because Marquez has a style that has kind of troubled him in some fights. Like Danny Garcia is a good counterpuncher with power, and so is Marquez. Marquez is really good and nasty on the inside. So, and he's not afraid to let his hands go. And if he gets hurt, he usually comes back stronger. So, good fight. I definitely think Marquez can knock out Amir Khan. That wraps it up. I try to keep it as minimal. I went kind of long. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next week, same thing. Leave your questions, and that's it. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.